So I put a poll up on my channel to decide how exactly you guys wanted me to cover the Aeons moving forward. As I mentioned in that post, I intend to do both series, but since the History of Aeon series was the one to win out, I decided to start here. These videos can be monsters to research. After all, my History of Teyvat series sometimes takes me days to research and usually ends up being 20 plus minutes long. So to ease our way into this, I decided to start with the Aeon of Destruction. Partially because Nanook is one of the younger Aeons and therefore just has less history for us to cover, and partially because they're the first Aeon we meet in-game. Also, as a brief aside, I do want to let everyone know that Honkai Star Rail is my first introduction into the Honkai series. The only other game I play from Hueyo is Genshin Impact, so I don't know the lore of Honkai Impact 3 or any earlier game. I am aware that there is a lot of overlap between the two games, and I will likely be doing research into the lore that does affect the story, like Welt, for example, but I likely won't be playing Honkai Impact 3 anytime soon. So anything I say in these videos are me drawing my conclusions from the available in-game lore and not anywhere else. Please feel free to share Honkai Impact 3 lore in the comments, but just know in general the scope of my videos will be Star Rail only. So with all that out of the way, as always, the best place to start with these videos is at the beginning. So let's get into it. Little is known about Nanook before they ascended to Aeonhood. Nanook was likely born on Adlevin, otherwise known as the Diamond Planet. This was a planet that Akivili visited, and it could only be described as a warring hellscape. This planet was devastated both by the Emperor's War and the Swarm disaster. I won't be going too much in depth about either of these events in this video, as Nanook wasn't really present for either event, but to give some context as to why Nanook's planet was in such a terrible state, I'll give you guys the TLDR version. The Emperor's War was a war fought between inorganic and organic life, with the machine Rupert I creating the anti-organic equation, which caused all inorganic life to begin killing any organic life near it, and all organic life to think that it was inorganic life. It caused devastation throughout the universe and had a brief revival with Rupert II before it was ended for good. The Swarm disaster was a disaster created by the Aeon of Propagation. Insect-like beings began self-replicating and spreading throughout the universe at an alarming rate, killing and destroying vast amounts of the universe in its wake. Adlevin was unfortunately in the way of both of these disasters. Little is known about why Nanook ultimately ascended or how exactly it happened. It's speculated that Nanook in their ascension destroyed the star system they were born to, wiping it permanently from the face of the universe. It is believed that the Aeon of Destruction sees creation as a mistake, and in an effort to correct this mistake, they will destroy the universe. None of this is particularly surprising given the state of Nanook's planet. I'm sure Homeboy went through some shit, and now they have decided to make it our problem. It is pointed out in the simulated universe that it seems a bit strange that the Aeon of Destruction would come into existence, since there are other paths that seem to encompass destruction under their purview. The difference between the Aeon of Destruction and the other Aeons that include such things, like the Aeon of Nihility and the Aeon of Finality, could be that Nanook is just taking a very active role in the destruction of the universe. Rather than waiting for things to play out, Nanook seems to act with a sort of hatred for creation, and a desire for destruction to act swiftly. Though, honestly, that's just my speculation on the matter. After ascending to Aeonhood, Nanook quickly got to work. Destruction came easily to the Aeon of the same name, but that's not to say that they killed every being they came across. When they met individuals of particularly destructive capacity, they would take those beings to the Warforge, a planet of lava that the Antimatter Legion used to construct its fighting forces, and they would have them remade. This would cause these beings to become Lord Ravagers and Emanators of Destruction. These Emanators are powerful and, well, destructive. You might be thinking, yeah, no shit, Kara, it's literally in their name, but how each Lord Ravager goes about destruction seems to be tailored to their specific preferences. For example, Phantilia is the Ravager of self-destruction, and often infiltrates different societies to help start events that will lead to their inevitable downfall. Sephiroth, by contrast, is also a Lord Ravager, but he seems to have a preference towards violent, overt destruction, and apparently has destroyed an entire galaxy. Selenova is Nanook's frontline general and has attacked multiple Ciencio ships with her troops, though little is known about her currently. There is Iron Tomb as well, and his preferred method of destruction seems to be focused on technologically advanced species. It is reported that he causes an intellectual collapse, and then eventually a complete collapse of all mechanical systems of the society, leaving them vulnerable to attack. The last named Lord Ravager on our list is the Sun Devourer, and they apparently, well, destroy stars. Which I know makes the naming, while accurate, a bit redundant. In addition to the Lord Ravengers, Nanook also created the Antimatter Legion, which is a group that is spreading across the universe with the sole purpose of destroying it. We see them all the time as we play through the game, and they seem to be sorta low-level grunts for Nanook. Though it seems to suggest that these beings were once organic life, but through the Warforge they eventually became fused with their weapons, and it's debatable how much of their consciousness survives this process, or if the participants were even willing. The Antimatter Legion is described as evil and cruel. They enjoy the suffering of dying worlds and feed off the chaotic energy that comes from the last gasping breaths of a civilization. The Antimatter Legion sneers at those who ask why they do the heinous, horrible things they do, because the answer for the Antimatter Legion is simply that they destroy for the sake of destruction. Nanook then destroyed a white star named Fatora, and in the process, this ended up actually creating plasmic-based lifeforms like Ifriti, who went on to create the Everflame Mansion, which is a subgroup of the Annihilation Gang. The Annihilation Gang are basically all the bloodthirsty and violent species that aren't advanced enough to join the Antimatter Legion. The Annihilation Gang are violent beyond even the Antimatter Legion standards. Cruelty not for the sake of destruction, but for a love of violence, vengeance, and madness. Because of this, though the Annihilation Game claims they follow and worship Nanook, the Aeon of Destruction holds nothing but contempt for them. The Annihilation Gang is therefore destined to maraud across the cosmos, but be forever in spiritual exile. This isn't really a deep dive video into the concept of destruction itself in Honkai Star Rail, but I do just want to mention that I think it's interesting that even the Aeon of Destruction can inadvertently give rise to creation. At this point in the game, the Antimatter Legion is fucking around in the universe, and as a bonus, started attacking Herta's space station. You know, right after we woke up. But apparently when we protected March from the Doomsday Beast, that was cool enough for us to attract Nanook's gaze. Now, how or why that is remains up for debate, but we did get some cool powers out of it. And that's it. The complete history of Nanook, the Aeon of Destruction as we know it. As I said, I picked them because their history was pretty short, but if you guys want a deep dive more into the concept of destruction in Honkai Star Rail, let me know and I might take a more philosophical look at the Aeon. Like, subscribe, comment, you know, all the things that let me know I'm not just screaming into the void. And, as always, may your journey take you starward.